Good evening, everyone, and welcome to What's the Buzz? This is the show where we ask you the question, what's the buzz, cuz? How you doing? Amelia, what's the buzz,
Hey,
cuz?
hey, how are you doing?
I'm wonderful. Amelia, we have a familiar face with us tonight. The gentleman was with us last week. He is famous beyond his years and has affected the entire world, yet they know him not. His name is Bruce Clark, and he's the guy who invented the stadium and arena cup holder and movie theater. And no matter where you go,
Mhm.
you're going to see a cup holder somewhere at a movie, at a stadium, baseball game, a concert venue. Thank this man for it. His name is Bruce
Absolutely.
Clark, and he's our guest yet again. Bruce, how the hell are you, brother?
I'm Ducky. Thank you. I'm very well. Unfortunately, I can't hear you except through my phone, so I'm stuck like this, listening to you with my phone.
There you
So
go. Hey, look, it's old school, and it works.
Absolutely.
it
And
works.
Well,
That's all that
and
counts.
it works well. So
Good.
when last we spoke, we told the world of your accomplishments and inventions, and impressive as they are, it got even better. I found out a few things about Bruce Clark. We're going to discover, all
mhm,
of us will discover tonight together,
yes.
and I want to share with my audience. But since we were together last, how have you been? Let's talk about how your week has been. Any feedback from your appearance?
Oh, yes, I had a number of people very impressed and happy and pleased to see our talk, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad to be back. Thank you. I feel honored. Do you get many return people, or am I the first
Oh
one?
no, we get
Oh,
quite a
yes.
few return guests. Absolutely,
Yes.
Okay. All
yeah.
right. All
We've
right.
had the probably the record holder is Baby Doll. She's been
Oh,
with
yes.
us 6 times. She is a
Oh,
professional
oh, wow.
wrestling personality. Yeah,
Yes.
six
Yes,
times
I
she's been
saw
with us.
her.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah, wonderful,
Cool.
wonderful lady, dear friend of mine, good lady.
Oh, yes.
Um, we're back with our co-host Amelia. Amelia, I have to ask you,
Yes.
what's the buzz? Cuz,
Hello,
how was your week?
Amelia.
It's been an interesting week so far. Gas prices are ridiculous, but hey, what can we do, right?
Now you're in Florida,
Yes.
so what are we looking
Amelia
at in
is.
Florida?
Well,
Yes, it's well within the past 2 days it was, let's see, it was 329, 349, 369. Now we're looking at 399 to 419 within 2, 3 days.
I'm in New Jersey, and it's
Yeah.
already $5.19 a gallon,
Wow.
wow.
and more in
We're at
Pennsylvania.
we're at
Say again, Bruce.
370. We're at
Three
Wow.
370 a
70.
gallon. Yeah.
I
My
wish we
goodness.
were
Yeah,
paying
we
three
got a
seventy.
real problem on our hands, don't we, folks? It's really a crying shame why
Yeah,
we can't
his
open up
name is
our
Joe Biden.
Mm.
exactly.
Yeah,
Why we can't
that's
open up
our
our
pride.
spigots of oil. My goodness. The
Well,
cleanest
here's the
country in the
thing.
world, and we can't produce any oil.
Well,
Yeah.
no, that's quite the contrary. We are overproducing oil to such a point that
Mhm.
we are supplying other countries with gasoline and oil,
Yes.
but they won't produce it for our own people.
Mhm.
And that's why Joe Biden is a traitor and a disgrace to the United States of America and should be
Mhm.
tried for treason.
Yeah, a
I'm
friend of
right
mine in
there. I'm
Michigan.
awfully close because he seems to be doing an extremely good job at doing everything he can to destroy what America is all about. And
Yes.
everything I'm trying
That's
to
his
do,
job
encourage
he is.
people to start their own business. Who wants to start a business in this climate?
Well, you
Yeah.
Is,
can't. That's the whole point, Bruce, and you're right. But the whole point is you can't. Nor
No.
would anyone with
Mm-mm.
a reasonably sound mind, nor
Mhm.
would they want to at this point. The problem
Exactly.
is you have an economy that, for all intents and purposes, is solvent and solid.
Mhm.
The
you know,
only problem with the only
I was
problem
very
with that
concerned.
economy. Go
Mhm.
ahead.
I was very concerned during the Clinton years and the Obama years what they were doing to the
Yes.
country, and
You
I
should be
thought, oh
very
my gosh,
concerned.
poor country, poor country. But then now that in reflecting back, America and our great economy bounced through it. We got through all that despite what they were doing. And
Yeah, and in no
we're
part
so
because of
resilient
them.
a country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
we're
in
so
and in no
resilient.
part
But
because of
now,
them.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Well,
And now
no,
under Biden,
yeah,
we've seen such destruction in 1 year. It blows me away. It's scary.
Exactly. It's ridiculous.
It's inconceivable that one man could do this much damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's
Yep.
just it's interesting how we saw America witnessed what we could create in 1 year under Trump, or
Yeah.
Within the first 6 months,
In
he was
in
remarkable.
4 years
saw
with
how
Donald
quickly
Trump,
and just grew, and everything was great. And boy, have we seen some devastation since Uncle Joe got in.
Yes.
well, in 4 years with Donald Trump, the American economy has seen prosperity unlike since Ronald Reagan was president.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not
Yeah,
rhetoric, that's factual. Check the numbers.
yeah.
Uh, Barack Obama is a piece of shit. Bill Clinton's a piece of shit and a whoremonger. Joe Biden is just a dumb fucking piece of shit and a
Yes.
whoremonger and likes
Yes.
him
I'm
young.
not. I tell you, Trump showed how we can do it, and it was
Yeah.
just blew me away how strong and how willing people were willing to take the chances that I took way back.
The Democratic Party is not happy until they've successfully created conflict. And
Exactly.
Well,
Uncle
you
Joe
know,
created conflict big time.
well, I saw it all begin under Obama. I saw division created right there with that man,
Oh, sure.
and
Mhm.
Well, who
it
was
was
his vice president? Uncle Joe was his vice president.
right,
Mhm.
right. And
Yeah.
we're seeing. Well, it's just gotten out of hand. It's amazing. You'd think that we'd be so resilient, we could see through it. I think most of Americans do see through what they're doing to us, and or what they're
Mhm.
attempting to do to us, and create all the divisions.
Mhm.
No matter if it's rich, poor, man, woman, white, black, it doesn't matter. They find a way of putting a wedge. And you know what? I don't. You don't call them the left. Don't call them liberals. Don't call them the Democratic Party. What I see doing what's going on is Marxists. They are Marxists who
Absolutely.
support
Mhm.
what's going on. And so let's,
Absolutely, of course.
it's gotten to the point where the true classic name for liberal, I think, is today the Trump supporter. We
Mhm.
are in the classic
Yeah.
sense, I mean, we're liberal thinkers. We're thinking outside the box. We're looking for ideas and open minded and change. And it's
Mhm.
not like it was, or I should say,
Nope.
it's gotten beyond liberal. I mean, it is
Exactly.
Marxist.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Of course.
That's the
Well,
way
look,
I see it.
socialism at its core is evil, okay?
Mhm.
Call it Marxist, call it leftist, call it whatever you want. The fact of the matter is, socialism at its core is evil. It
Yes,
destroys
and what?
families, it destroys souls, it destroys economies, it destroys entire fabric of countries. And that's who's running this country now. A guy who's hell bent and has been hell bent for the last 49 years. 49 years, he's been trying to destroy that which created him. And if people don't understand that, then they're dumb fucks that are just like him. I call
Yeah.
a dumb
Yeah.
fuck a dumb fuck.
Uh-huh.
Okay? He's a
Okay.
dumb fuck.
Yes.
Well, what I see is, if you can call it everything you want. Boy, to me, it's spiritual warfare at this point.
It's absolutely spiritual warfare, and thank you for bringing that up because I'll tell you what, uh, countries are waking up in a way,
Mhm.
people are waking up in a way as never before and discovering their inner truth, their inner light as to what really is going on around us, and
Mhm.
it is a principality and dominion warfare. Absolutely.
I agree. Can you still hear me right now? Can you hear
I
me?
can,
Uh-oh.
yes,
Yes.
I can.
Yes.
You can hear me because I just got my
Yes.
speakers going.
Yes.
I'm
Oh,
hanging up the
terrific.
phone.
Please do.
Perfect. Yes.
Had to go in the
Terrific.
system, push a button,
Yay.
microphone.
That works for us.
Now we get
There you go.
professionalism away.
So yeah, and
Professionalism
I'll
away.
tell you what, I have really strong political views. They get me in
Uh-huh.
trouble on fascist book.
Mm-hmm.
My new name for
I'm
Facebook, fascist book.
I'm for the
You know,
first time I
and
am unrestricted.
Yeah.
I'm going to need Amelia to really stay on Facebook because
Uh-huh.
when I leave, I'm going to need some eyes and ears there. I'm
Mm-hmm.
also going to need a representative of the show there. So what are you
he'll be
laughing for?
he'll
I'm
be
serious.
he'll be banned for 30 days probably. No.
I'm serious. Are you kidding me? 30 days. You can. I was banned. I was banned for 72 days
Oh my gosh.
for calling Mark
Yeah,
Zuckerberg a
I'm 3
Zionist
months,
pig.
90 days.
Oh wow.
I'm not banned, but I'm restricted 90 days.
Oh my goodness.
Really? Did you tell them to go fuck themselves?
Uh-huh.
I had no way of protesting. I couldn't find any place to protest in
You
Facebook
just found it,
about that.
brother, right here.
Yeah.
You
Well,
Uh,
just
we've
found it
might
right
as well
here.
say we've all been banned before from Facebook a couple of times or two.
yeah,
You
And
know.
there's
it's
nothing.
amazing
And you
what
know
they're
what?
complaining
Uh,
about
There's
are
nothing they can do
articles from
about
the
it.
UK. Articles.
mm,
It's not
mm,
my voice. I just repeated it of somebody else saying
mhm,
something,
Yeah.
or I
mhm,
repeated it by forwarding the article. My goodness.
mhm. Yeah. What advice
You
would you
know,
give an entrepreneur today who's starting a business because of everything that's going on right now?
Good luck.
oh, well, you know what? It boils down to everything that I promote in my book.
Mm-hmm.
Starts with being willing to take a risk, having the
Mm-hmm.
vision, or some people call it a business plan, but um,
Right.
and hiring the right people. Don't let emotions get in the way. I failed to mention something that was kind of funny in the last video. I mentioned briefly about emotion, and remember
Mm-hmm.
my first. Oh, by the way, Amelia, you asked
Yes.
for
Uh-huh.
a prototype. This is not the
Yes.
prototype. This
Uh-huh.
is the actual production of
Oh
a
wow.
fold-up hoop that I envisioned. This was my vision,
Oh
and
wow.
That's
so
pretty cool.
so I got that
Well,
going for me. Anyway,
oh.
Beautiful. I love it.
and I know. And I mentioned also how I borrowed money from my credit cards, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Well, before I got on that part of it,
Mm-hmm.
I told you I had to build a whole nother mold. I didn't have the money,
Yeah.
or actually,
Mm-hmm.
I did borrow for that second mold for my credit
Mm-hmm.
cards. But then I saw where things were growing to where we had to have more and more models,
Mm-hmm.
and
Hmm.
our models kept on moving, and every single mold's $20,000 to
Yeah.
$50,000.
Yes.
And so that I didn't want to have to put out the money for, but yet I was the manufacturer, so I had to produce. So I wrote a
Yeah.
letter. Now, talk about not having money, right? I wrote a
Yeah.
letter to whom it may concern. And I said, and I had a little track record of I was in the Metrodome, I was in a few theaters around Twin Cities, and Homer, Alaska was one of my first ones from the trade show. And
Right.
I wrote this letter because I knew I had to build another mold that had multiple inserts for different mounting brackets. And to whom it may concern, I have a track record. I need $50,000. I will pay you back at 25 cents a cup holder until you get it was like a 20% return on your investment. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I sought out relatives, parents, family, friends. I begged for somebody to lend me this money and take this risk. And I had no takers. And it took me about a month. And finally, and I went to other businesses. Finally, I came across an injection mold guy, an actual local guy, who I said, "Hey, here's my letter. I need a mold built, 50 grand." And he says, "Okay, I'll do it."
Mm-hmm.
And so that really got us on the road with a bunch of new models that we needed so
Right.
soon after this failure, and my other one, which was, do I have one here? Hold on. No. Anyway, the next generation from this was a little crude, and it not crude. It would apply to everything, but you had to screw holes in the back of the seat, and they weren't into that. So anyway, and this guy finally took it on. He built this mold. Didn't cost me a dime. And,
Wow.
20 years later, after I'd sold it and everything, I still kept in touch with him a little bit. And I asked him, I said, do you have any regrets about doing that? He says, not at all. He was very happy to do that deal. So, it's creative fun seeking, if you will.
Yeah. Speaking of creative, I got a little creative myself this week. I put together a little video slideshow of some of Bruce Clark's lesser known accomplishments. Let's take a look.
Uh-oh.
There's Bruce.
What has he here?
Of course, the inventor of the Cupholder. There's your book. Your book, Create Your American Dream. For those that are not familiar with your book. No, I was just going to say, Bruce. I don't want that are not. Go ahead.
Don't buy it. I was kind of ashamed of it. And it is on my website. It is available on Amazon. But like I told you last week, I had 3 different editors go through this thing. And by the time it got printed, mistake after mistake, and I'm just so embarrassed. And I had a guy clean it up, and he added a couple hundred pages, and now it's something, and it's not out yet because we're going with this Create Your American Dream is my own self-publishing attempt.
Yeah.
And as an adventure guy that doesn't know quite what I'm doing, I stumbled around, I made some mistakes, and and I have a publicist type of person who's really pushing me to get it published from a real publisher, and make sure it's done right. Yeah, there's my first shop I had.
Yeah, this is from Bruce Clark's website. There actually, you have 2 websites that lead to the same, BruceDouglasClark.com and Invent Your Path. They both lead to this site. This is you spoke about having an auto shop. This was your shop.
This was the very first shop that a guy called me. I was working on. I just got back from being a lobster fisherman for a summer, and I wanted to start this Minnetonka kite company using building Nagasaki and Malaysian fighting kites. You ever heard of them? They are so cool. Yeah. And they are these kites that sit in the air. They do this. They just do this. When you let the wind take it, if you let the wind take it, and if it's starting to go in one direction, it'll continue in that direction. And once it's pointed in the direction you want it to go, and you pull on that string, it'll go straight in that direction, straight as an arrow.
Absolutely.
And so you have dogfights in the air, play around together, and first one to hit the ground loses. It's really cool. Anyway,
very popular. Those kites are actually very popular.
They're huge in Afghanistan, Pakistan, Malaysia.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you where else they're popular, and it might surprise you. Wildwood, New Jersey. They're very popular there on the beach. They actually do compete with each other, and they do in fact have the for lack of a better term, dog fights on the beach in the air. Absolutely.
Yeah, there was an episode of The Big Bang Theory also that they did something like that.
Yeah.
They're really cool. It's good for you. It's a big deal. Anyway, and I needed $10,000 to start that, and I didn't have it. And I got a phone call from this guy who had a local gas station that knew me. He asked me, "Hey, you want to rent out my back stall for $100 a month and start a business?" I go, "Sure." So that's how I got into the car repair business. Now you're showing my racing career. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to tell me about this.
Yeah.
All this money you spent to have it crashed up.
Well, that's another cool story. When I had my shop,
Okay.
I had bought the first blue car in the world. And I always wanted to have a race car, and I had been
Yeah.
autocrossing a Saab Sonnet, modified, of course. And it was time up. A buddy had this old 1968 Brabham BT21,
Yeah.
an ex Formula 2 car, and I raced that for one race. And
Uh-huh.
before I sold it to this guy, let me show you a picture of what I ended up buying that's you're seeing up in the air crashing.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
You imagine
Can you
spending all that
see
money to have it crash? Oh, look at
Um.
this. Wow.
Oh
now
wow.
That's
this
gorgeous.
guy, a famous race car driver named Jerry Hansen, he won more national champions than anyone in America ever,
You know exactly
amateur
who he
national
is.
champion. And he happened
I
to
know
live
exactly who he
nearby,
is.
and he owned. Do you? Cool.
I
He
do,
owned
absolutely.
Donnybrook
Sure.
Racetrack, and he he met a friend of mine met him and said, "Hey, I got a buddy who's just bought this car," and Jerry says, "Well, hey, you should buy mine. It's brand new. It's 1 year old." And my friend called and said, "You know what? Check it out." And I go, "Why? I don't have money to buy a 1 year old Jerry Hansen race car." And
Right.
so I said, "You know, it won't cost me anything to go to his house and listen to his pitch, right?"
Yeah.
We made a deal. I gave him this race car. I gave him $3,000 cash,
Oh my God.
and he took payments. He took $350 a month payments, and he
Oh
was
my
at my
God.
door
That's
every
crazy.
month. And I bought this thing, and I started to frickin' win races. I won 11 out of 17 races, set 3 track
Oh,
records. I was
That's
a
crazy.
quick flash in the pan, but it was a very fast car. Formula Atlantic, extremely fast. And oh, what a dream come true. It was great.
That's a hell of a dream, brother. A very
mhm.
pricey dream.
Mhm.
I've
A
had
very
many dreams
pricey
come
dream.
true in my life. Everything I put my mind to, it's come to fruition, and that's America for you.
Well,
Now, here's an
speaking of,
interesting picture.
yeah, I got some questions before you
Mhm.
Oh,
volunteer
that's
any
Bill.
information. I got
All
some
right,
questions about this chapter in your life.
sure.
Evidently, you and the missus made a quite a little career out of going from game show to game show and just beating the crap out of them. Now, either you have a strategy and an inside track to winning at game shows, or you are the
Uh-huh.
luckiest son of a bitch in the world.
It's really interesting. We happened to be in Las Vegas one year, and we came across at one of the places they had this show with Wink Martindale called Gambit. And
Yeah.
we thought, well, why not? They're looking for contestants. We were there. Let's try and get on. We got on, and we won. We won $150 cash and $600 worth of bit of honey and Kentucky Fried Chicken coupons. And that gave us a taste, right? And
Oh
so
my God.
uh, my wife is looking through some Hollywood deal. They were talking about a new show where they're going to be giving away a house,
Yeah.
and with Bob Eubanks. And so
Yeah.
she tells me about it. I go, yeah, right, sure. But at the time we were looking for a house. We couldn't afford a bigger house. We were starting a family, and we needed a bigger house. And so I thought, okay, let's go out there, see what happens. It was at Burbank Studios, right across the hall from Johnny Carson's show.
Oh my
And
God.
we not only got on the show, we won 6 shows in a row, and
Yeah.
Wow.
we won
I heard.
uh, 6 rooms of furniture, 2 trips, and the
Incredible.
house. We won the freaking house.
Yeah.
And
You gotta tell me
what you see,
how you pulled this together.
well, my wife was very fast in the buzzer, and I got a few things right, but she was so fast. And once you hit the buzzer first, you control the true or false or multiple choice
Yeah.
question.
Well, I
And
have a
she's
question about that. You said that she was quick on the buzzer, but apparently it wasn't just that show. She was apparently quick on the buzzer with a lot of shows.
well
The
after this
headline
experience,
here.
after
Well,
you win a house, you feel you can do anything. And she went on every radio show you could imagine.
oh
She
yeah,
was on. We were on another game show, Chance of a Lifetime, I think it was called,
yes,
where you can win $1 million. We won $2,800 and paid for the trip to California. And then my
yeah,
wife got on another show. I forget the name of it, and she won a car. And you can
Wow.
see
yeah.
in the upper left hand, uh, a National Enquirer came over and did a big story on us. And you know what's interesting about our press? You know, we talk about don't believe everything you read. When they
Yeah.
came over to take photos of our winnings, they
Mhm.
happened to have the script laying on the bed. And I was looking through it, and I couldn't believe the story they made up that was so untrue. They had me being her slave and her butler, and
Oh my
it was
gosh.
just ridiculous. And I called them on it, and they go, "Oh, okay, we'll fix that." And they did. And finally, the article was quite true. But my wife would call up all these radio stations that were giving away this or that. And
Yeah.
at one time, she signed me up with another couple at a radio station. Whoever could assemble two bicycles the quickest won the
Yeah.
bicycles. And of course, being an ex-mechanic, hey, I won.
There you
So
go.
Of course.
nice 10
Yeah.
bicycles on
Imagine
that.
that.
But you say it, about luck. And let me tell you something about that game show. Prior to that, we studied People Magazine, Us Magazine, Trivial Pursuit, every one that we could get our hands on. We went through every
I
one of
can
those questions.
imagine.
We studied
Oh
every
yes.
one of those people. And it was amazing how many questions came up from what we had studied. So I'll tell you,
Oh yeah,
we
I'm not
made our
surprised.
own luck. And you know what's another interesting thing about that whole story? Uh, after we finished winning the house, you want to tell your friends about it. You want to, hey, I won a house. Hey, wow. And there were two types of responses from people. And this is interesting. One response would be, "Oh, I'm so happy for you. It's so cool. Oh, cool." And you'd expect that. Other people, "Oh, you lucky son of a bitch. I can't believe your luck." And
Yeah.
they were miserable, and they were resentful, and I was
Well, and that's
Oh
taken
yes.
why
back. Isn't that
Yep.
that's
something?
why, and I'm glad you answered the question the way you did. That's why I asked
Yes.
the question. You did some, some research, or you had an inside track, or you were just the luckiest bastard in the world.
Hmm.
There's a
Yeah.
and for
No,
those people. Well, I just hold on just a second, Bruce, because I want people
Uh-huh.
to see, or I want them to hear what they can't really see well.
Yes.
Up on the screen, it says here, and it's interesting the way it's written. It says, "Contest Crazy Mom wins $200,000 in prizes." That's the first article. The second article is, and the winner is, local woman makes a living winning.
Hmm.
Now,
yeah,
there was no
not quite.
mention
We had a
of,
few good years.
Hmm.
yeah, and there's
She
no
was a
mention of,
stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
Me,
yeah.
more.
So
I
here's the
know. What are
question
you
I
doing?
have for
I don't
you.
care.
It
Got the
all
house.
comes. Well, that's the question I have is very simple. Is Mrs. Lucky still with you, or did Mrs.
No,
Lucky
but
get divorced?
yeah, we were together 20 years, and we kind of fell apart. But we're still good friends. She's a mother
Good
of
for
my
you.
children. I respect her highly. We get along great. Our divorce was not ugly. So
And
yeah, I still love her. She's a good woman.
beautiful. I see. I like a happy ending like that. I
Hmm.
really do. That to me is a happy ending, even though there was a divorce involved. The fact that you're civil and you talk and you still love each other, that's beautiful. That's a wonderful thing.
That
Now,
I'm
here is
happy with
Bruce
that.
Clark and his cup holders.
Yes.
And anybody that's been to a game knows that site well. It's behind the seat. There are, to the right of every seat is a cup holder. And now you see
No,
them.
to the left.
Say, what's that, Bruce?
That's
Say
a go.
again? Oh,
No, they're to the left.
oh yeah, it could be to the left.
Mhm.
It could be, yeah, depending on you look at.
Let's use
now-
right. I like that term better.
There are many variations now of the Clark cup holder.
Yes.
There are those behind the seat. There are those in the center
Mhm.
of the armrest, built right into the armrest. Movie theaters, I think, are the most prolific because they've got now cup holders with 3 different sizes within the unit.
Yes.
It'll fit a 24 ounce, a 32 ounce, and a 48 ounce cup
Mhm.
in the same holder. It's an interesting design. If you really take a look at it, it's pretty clever.
Well, what
But
is that? Only in one stadium that you saw that 3-leveled type of cup holder, or
no,
is that only
it's
one place?
actually
They're all in different
no,
stadiums
Bruce.
now.
It's actually what was I'm sorry, Amelia. What was that, babe?
They're in pretty much all the stadiums now because of the different type of concerts that you can go to and hockey
Yeah.
and things like
And
that.
All
that's
of them
the
have
case.
cup holders, but are they the 3-tiered sizes?
The
Yeah,
3-tier
and
sizes.
I'll tell you,
They
I
are.
have to,
Yeah.
I have to agree with her because I will tell you here in Philadelphia, Bruce,
Yeah.
we've got the Wells Fargo Center, the Lincoln Financial Field,
Uh-huh.
and Citizens Bank Arena.
Mhm.
Where the Philadelphia Phillies play, the
Mhm.
Philadelphia
Sure.
Eagles play, and any
Mhm.
number of concert venues at the Wells Fargo Center,
Yes.
including the Philadelphia Flyers. And I will tell
Mhm.
you that every one of those 26,000 seats
Mhm.
has a cup holder on it.
Oh,
Yes.
sure.
Even
Sure. I just didn't
even
realize it was
in-
that style.
Mhm.
yeah, even the ones in the VIP boxes,
Mhm.
they're also equipped in the VIP boxes and the corporate
yeah.
boxes.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's pretty
You know,
interesting to see various sizes.
Mhm.
We
But
had
now-
a wonderful run. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, but the Clark cup holder, we're going to call it the Clark cup holder because this is yours that we're looking at.
Yes.
That was a one size. Bruce, was that for like a
Yes.
32 ounce
Yeah.
cup or what?
Yeah. They after I sold the company, they came out with a lot other models, and so that could have been one of them. Like I said
Right.
last week, that it's possible that that's how another company may have come in and gotten around our patents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because now
Did
they
you see
make
those in a behind? Yeah, there's the brochure
yes.
Yeah. Now this is
with
called
the
the caddy
3
cup
tiers, yeah.
holder.
Mhm.
This here, and
That's yeah.
yeah, and this was the original, the schematic for it, Bruce.
Right. We had to make this brochure a drawing because
Yeah.
the mold wasn't done in time for the trade show. Well, it was, but it didn't get done for 3 weeks prior to having to leave for the show. We had to get this brochure
Right.
done, so we had no choice but to make it this way. And
Yeah.
little hokey, but hey, it's first time for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now here's Bruce in a very, I guess a long time ago, because you looked like you're maybe about
That was
30,
good.
35. You're
You
about
know, I could
35,
have been.
37 here.
That was 1980, something late 80s.
Mhm.
If you're older than 35 in this picture, man, then you look good.
Yeah, I'm a whippersnapper.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
You're a whippersnapper, brother. I'll tell you what. But that is that's Bruce Clark in his element, and behind him you saw all of the and I definitely want to make sure that the people
Mhm.
take a look at your websites, inventyourpath.com and
Mhm.
brucedouglasclark.com, Bruce's websites. Now, let's get back to where we were here. And I'm going to bring Bruce back up here in front and center. So, yeah, it's interesting that you've had this diversified career. I had no idea that you actually, you and your wife actually made a according to some, I don't know if you know this, but according to some articles, it was as much as $700,000, house not included, and upwards of $1 million, house included.
Oh, no, no. We were 1099 for $138,000 back when we won the house.
Okay.
And my wife went through everything we won, and she found advertisements for the same thing with a lot lower selling price. And so
Oh, okay.
we reported to the IRS the actual
Mhm.
value of the thing we won, not based on the 1099. We saved like $20,000
Oh, wow.
off our tax
Beautiful.
because of,
Hmm.
you know, we had to mortgage that free house to pay for the taxes.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
Yeah.
nothing's for
Well,
free.
I'll tell you
Tell you.
what. We have been speaking on the subject of entrepreneurship. One of the preeminent entrepreneurs in America is a gentleman, and I'm sure just about every household in the country has at least one article of Tommy Hilfiger clothing or something with Tommy Hilfiger's name on it. Tommy
You mean
Hilfiger
Tommy
is
Bahama?
yeah,
Tommy Bahama.
yeah,
That's
Tommy
the guy I
Bahama.
interviewed. I didn't know bigger. Yeah, Tommy Bahama.
Yeah. He says the road to success is not easy to navigate, but with hard work, drive, and passion, it's possible to
Oh,
achieve
I'm
the
sorry.
American dream. Yeah,
That
Tommy
he's
Hilfiger.
right on the money. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the guy I interviewed that's also a competitor of Tommy's. Uh,
Hmm.
No, I know
anyway,
who Tommy Bahama is. Absolutely. Oh, yeah, Tommy
right, right,
Bahama
right.
got a hell of a line of product, big time. Oh, absolutely. But
Yeah.
yeah, Tommy
You
Hilfiger
know,
is one of these guys, a fascinating guy because, again, he's one of these people you know the name, but I'll bet you if Tommy Hilfiger bit someone on the ass, they'd have a hard time identifying him. You know, he's one of these guys you don't know
oh,
what he
right.
looks like.
Yeah.
I don't know what he looks like. I have no
Yeah.
idea. I have not a clue what Tommy Hilfiger looks like.
Well, I
So,
encourage everyone to go to my website and
mhm.
listen to my interview with Bob Emfield. He's the creator of Tommy Bahama,
Yeah,
which it's a real interesting story because he started off just like me without money and met the right people to really make things
yeah,
happen. But Hilfiger he's so right about that. There's a lot of
yeah,
basics that I push that you can be a Harvard business student, top in the class, and if you don't have the
yeah.
basics, forget about it. You're going to struggle
Oh
like
my God,
mad.
sure,
As
absolutely.
far as
Absolutely.
yeah.
I want people to take a
And
listen to
that's
this,
all I
Bruce. Yeah, Bruce, I want to people to take a listen to this, and then I want you to comment. I love
sure.
entrepreneurship because that's what makes this country grow, and if it can help companies grow, I am. If I can help companies grow, I'm creating jobs, and I'm setting foundations for future generations. It sends the message that the American dream is alive and well. Mark Cuban is the
Amen.
guy who said that.
Yes.
Another guy,
Yeah.
everyone knows who Mark Cuban is. You can see him weekly or daily in some markets on Shark Tank.
Hmm.
He is a self-made billionaire, and again, it had his name on everything from clothing to pharmaceuticals. So,
He's a
talk to me
very bright
about
man, extremely bright,
incredibly
very bright.
bright and very courageous to take a chance. But if you got his kind of money, you can take a chance.
Oh yeah,
Again,
yeah.
we addressed the subject last week, Bruce, of people who cannot afford to make that dream happen. So oftentimes they are left to just squander their dream, or if they're fortunate enough, like myself, to slip in front of someone who does have the money to make it happen. Fortunately, you'll never see the electric spaghetti fork because it took a shit. And I'm very
Right.
grateful for that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, what do you think of what Mark Cuban says?
Well, he's right on the money. It's so true. I'll tell you, I couldn't believe having being a manufacturer and distributor for the Cupholder, how many people we gave work to, from the mold builder to the injection molding people to the engineers that had to figure out the right pressures and temperatures and which plastics to use,
Yeah.
to the packaging companies, to the art design people designing the packaging, to the sales forces, the manufacturers' representatives. We gave a cut to the delivery, the warehouse people. I mean, it just goes on and on. To the installers, we had a number of installers throughout the country that they had a whole teams of people who go in and outfit a stadium or a theater complex. And oh my gosh, it really, really, really did indeed employ a lot of people. And
I
it
can
wasn't
well
all via
imagine.
our employees. It was the people that our product caused to have to get paid for doing their part in it. And
Sure.
it's a wonderful capitalism is a wonderful free enterprise. It's a wonderful system. It works so well. And
You know what, Bruce? I agree with you. Capitalism is the best system when it works. And when it does not work, it can kill you. It can kill you
Well, if you
financially,
let
it
it.
can kill you,
Yes.
and it can kill you physically. Amelia, you've been
Yes.
ominously quiet
I've
this
been listening.
episode. I don't want you to listen. I want you to tell Angelo, shut up. I want to talk. I
Hey,
want to
you
talk to
told me not
Bruce.
to interrupt my elders, and that includes you.
Elders. Hold now. Oh. Bruce, fire up my walker, Bruce.
Yeah, right. He said not to
Elders.
interrupt, right?
Let me go take my Geritol. I'll be back. Oh my God.
Right.
Go ahead, ask your question, smart ass.
Well, he did say not to interrupt, right? No, but I was thinking about what you were saying about the entrepreneurship, and I have a friend that he started off wanting to be a photographer, but of course he didn't have the money, so he decided to do some modeling. And he has a pretty face, nice body, and everything. So he decided to become a model first, and started up that way, and got a small camera, and then started taking pictures and so forth. And now he became a famous photographer, and so he started taking
Cool.
pictures, and he's on books and stuff like that. And then so he became a world famous photographer. And then he said, you know what, I can do something better, so I'm going to become a realtor to help my photography business. So
Good.
that helped a lot better. And then he says, you know what, I think I can do better than that. I'm going to be entrepreneur. I'm going to be started to not a like a pyramid thing, but it's something similar. And before you know it, he's out with buying Mercedes. He's got money. And of course, he lost both of his parents at a young age. So he had to really, really start helping himself, better life for himself. And now he has a house in Massachusetts and in Fort Lauderdale. And he's
I've got to
Oh
jump
boy,
in
wait.
here.
Bravo,
Yes.
bravo.
I've got to jump in here, Bruce. I want to ask you a question while it's still hot on the trail here.
Mhm. See how he
Amelia,
interrupts me now?
yeah. Amelia
No,
said something.
no.
Well, no, actually, Amelia, what you said prompted it. It was a very good point,
Yes.
and I'm going to piggyback on it because
Yes.
I want Bruce to comment, because this is a really
Mhm.
interesting thing that's happening.
Yes.
You used the word pyramid,
Yes.
okay?
Hmm.
Now, Bruce,
Multi-
Like Amway.
multi-level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, well,
I was
they
doing that.
call
I
it.
tried that. I tried Amway, all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Go ahead.
I want to, and I'm glad that you said multi-level marketing,
Yes.
because it is different. It is different from
Mhm.
pyramid schemes.
Yes.
It's a very different approach.
Yes.
The idea with the pyramid scheme is that you lay all this brick on the bottom, and
Hmm.
that you systematically build to this pinnacle on top where
Correct.
the pot of gold waits you. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
which of course is a lot of horseshit.
Exactly.
Multi-level marketing is a different approach, and therein lies the information and knowledge
Mm-hmm.
of Bruce Clark. Bruce, educate us on multi-level marketing and how
Mm-hmm.
and why does it different from the pyramid structure?
So many people can get into multi-level marketing for next to
Mm-hmm.
nothing. It's very
Yes.
inexpensive, and there's a lot of different products and things out there. I tried a
Right.
number of them. I mean, I did Shackley,
Mm-hmm.
Amway,
Mm-hmm.
Sprint when Sprint first came out. I forget. Herbalife. Anyway, when
Oh
I
my
Yes.
say I
God,
did them,
Herbalife. Oh, please.
yeah.
I
When I
almost
say
got
I did
sucked
them,
into that Herbalife crap.
Mm-hmm.
I got sucked in, but you know what? It wasn't right for me. Now,
Mm-mm.
what
Yeah.
it requires is everybody you look at needs to be your customer, and
Exactly.
that's
Absolutely.
the
That's
only problem I have
right.
with multi-level marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. What I wanted to look at people for other reasons and things, and I didn't want to look at them as a mark, that I could sell to, or that could be a
Mm-hmm.
dealer
Yeah.
and have them over for dinner to do a pitch. It just wasn't me.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do it for that very reason. But some
Yeah.
people are extremely good at it, and it works for them,
Mm-hmm.
and they
Mm-hmm.
hustle. And you do have to hustle in that business. You gotta, and in
Yes.
rejection,
Oh God.
but
Yeah.
that's with any. Yeah, you just got to
Very
have a
much
thick
so.
skin, go through the rejection, and you throw enough mud up in the wall and it'll stick.
Mm-hmm.
So
Go ahead,
yes, it does
Amelia.
work.
Go
Oh.
you.
Mm-hmm. Right. And now he's actually doing. He's going to different places and give doing a story and explaining how his life was without his mother. And the sad part is that he knew his mother was sick when he was little, but she still managed to bake cookies with them even though she wasn't feeling well. And this it was so hard for him growing up, and he was go, going to school but then at the same time coming home to his mom not feeling well. And then his mom passed away. His dad was home, but then he was hanging out with the wrong crowd, and he's like, something's got to change. So he decided to better himself, and then now he's giving lectures on how to better yourself. He's pretty much like a life coach, you know, helping
Cool.
people
Yeah.
how to better
And
themselves. Yes.
and once again, Amelia prompts a question for Bruce Clark.
Hmm.
Um,
Go ahead.
I've got a question for you about psychology, about the psychology, the mindset of
Hmm.
the entrepreneur. Very rarely have I read or heard of a success story from someone who already has money. Okay. The success
Right.
stories you hear are from people who do not have money, who come from very poor, in some cases, very humble beginnings.
Yes.
Is there a mindset and a psychology that is more acclimated to the entrepreneurial spirit? Does does having no money accelerate the drive, and in some cases does having
Or the
money,
desire.
yeah, there's a it's a two-pronged approach. You get where I'm going with it.
Oh, sure. You know,
Hmm.
I wrote a essay about building an entrepreneurial mind. And I say to
Okay.
start, it's all about attitude. You can choose to focus
Yeah.
what can go wrong or what can you do to make it go right. I talked about Zig Ziglar and not having any stink and think, and
Yeah.
then you build a creative mind. Don't accept anything the way it is. Look at all things as nice attempt, but it's not the only way. And then
Yeah.
know hard work is the norm. Don't expect anything will be easy. Whether you work for someone else or work for yourself, expect to work hard. I mean, it's just the way it is in life. If you're
Yeah.
lazy, forget being an entrepreneur. Um,
Hmm.
and we talked this about, know also that chasing the buck can be futile.
Yeah.
Uh, all about the dollar, the dollar, the dollar. Yes, indeed, it's
Yeah.
important, but it's not all about that.
Hmm.
And then,
Right.
seeking quality help. Um, find people
Mm.
smarter than yourself, and don't be afraid to ask questions. I had a lot of um, not what do you call those non-compete clause? Uh, not a non-compete clause, a non-disclosure document
Oh,
Yes.
I made up
non-disclosure, sure, yeah.
Non-disclosures. Mm-hmm.
and I had a lot of people sign those before I had a
Mm-hmm.
patent or just an idea.
Yeah.
That's a
And
smart thing to do. Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, you got
Because
to
if
do
you,
Well, I
that.
mean,
And
without it, you're opening
yes.
yourself up for all kinds of theft and libel.
Yes.
oh yeah, oh
Right.
yeah.
Absolutely,
Like
sure.
that's what I should have recommended you do, Angelo, with your spinning fork idea. You should have had a
Mm-hmm.
non-disclosure agreement that you had this jerk
Mm-hmm.
sign,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, well, when you're 17 years old, 18 years old, who thinks about it,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah,
know?
what do you
Right.
know? You hadn't talked to
You
me
just
yet.
you
Yeah.
just think that you came up with the next big thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Because
And then I
if
talk
you look
about,
at that, go ahead. I'm
well, I
sorry.
talk
Again,
about also, be professional.
Yes.
Come across as professionally as possible. Um, you know, don't try and don't try and be somebody you're not. Just be
Mm-hmm.
professional. Be
yeah.
straight.
Right.
Uh, act
I
professional. People
that's
will take you more
that piece
seriously and
of
they'll listen to you
advice.
more.
Mm-hmm.
That singular piece of advice,
Mm-hmm.
I think is the most fundamental advice anyone could ever offer. Just
Absolutely.
be you. Don't try to be
Yeah,
anybody else. Be you.
Right. Because if you look at
a
Oprah Winfrey, where
professional.
she started from, look at her now, and she started from nothing. She's a better woman for it now, and she's like rich, a billionaire probably now, and compared to a conglomerate company handed to you from daddy, you know,
Yeah,
something,
Don't kid yourself, Amelia. Oprah Winfrey is a conglomerate company.
I mean, she wasn't before. I mean, where she started from, she built herself up from nothing,
Sure. Well, it
you know,
wasn't nothing, but she had a lot of help.
right? But she
Oprah
started
had a
and
lot
then
of help.
learning salesmanship. Sell cars for a year, and I tell you
hmm
what, I used to be a
Yeah.
Snap-on tool distributor, and I
Yes.
did that for a
Yeah.
couple of years. And I was
hmm
I was rookie of the year my first year, and number two in the 500 area my second year. So I was
Yeah.
very successful. But that is
Uh-huh.
establishing. Did we talk about this last week? That was establishing relationships, and you
Oh
Oh,
can do
yes.
that
absolutely. But you can
relationship over
never,
time.
Right.
in my opinion, you can never emphasize that enough. Because
Exactly.
that's the one
Oh,
thing in especially Bruce in this day and age where interpersonal relationships are so jumbled, intermingled. In some cases, it's like stepping on each other. No one has no. I don't think anybody considers now the impact of social media on entrepreneurs or the entrepreneurial spirit.
hmm
I think, and again, just my opinion, I think that the social media dilemma, and I'm going to call it what it is,
hmm
the social media dilemma that we're facing is dramatically and drastically infringing upon and hindering the entrepreneurial spirit because
whoa!
everything.
It's
uh,
another tool. I look at it as another tool.
Oh, I don't see it as a tool. I'll tell you what I see it as. I see it as a
Today's
means
media,
by
what we're
which.
doing now.
Well, no, I'll tell you what. No, I'm not talking about what we're doing now. I'm talking about people, for example, who go on a Zoom meeting, for example, and
Right.
they're
Oh,
pitching ideas back and forth.
hmm
You don't know who's listening and watching.
right.
You're
Right.
assuming that the person on the other side of that camera is your friend,
Right.
and then 10 minutes
Yeah.
after he gets off,
I see
you
what you're
under
saying. Yeah. Interpersonal
and
relationships, like you said.
yeah,
Yes.
and then 10 minutes after you get off that Zoom call, he's on the phone with his patent attorney, hawking your idea.
hmm
Right. Kind of hard to have them sign a non-disclosure statement over a Zoom call, isn't it?
Right.
You're making my point for me. Thank you.
hmm
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah. I see where you're going with that.
You
And then,
understand what
yeah,
I mean
right.
now?
It's
Yeah,
not
Yeah.
the same. Face-to-face contact is so important. And, you know, getting
absolutely.
back to the salesmanship idea, there's so many people I've heard say, well, I'm not a salesman. I don't like salesmen. I don't want to be a salesman. Well, guess what, pal, ma'am? You were a salesman since you were a little kid trying to sell your parents on giving you an extra cookie. How about as a teenager trying to stay out later? You know, I mean,
Mhm.
you've been selling people all your life, you never even knew it. You
Or one
just
more
got to
glass of water
redefine
before you
that.
go to bed.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Yep.
One more story, Daddy. You know, and you know that's
Uh-huh.
why I say you
Yeah.
sell cars for a year because that teaches you. And when somebody goes to buy a car, they talk to salesman right away. They look at you as a liar, a cheat, and a thief. So you've
Absolutely.
got to establish
Mhm.
this before and learn the the art of salesmanship. And there are
Yeah.
steps you got to follow. You can't miss out on any one of those steps
Mhm.
in a
No.
short period of time. You got to show
Mhm.
yourself in 15 minutes, give them what they want,
Uh-huh.
and that's the critical part of the salesmanship process that
Yeah.
everybody
Yes.
should learn. You're selling. If you're not selling a product, you're selling a service. You know, if you're in your
And
own
that's
business,
the
you have.
key.
Yes.
That's the key. It's a service.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we live in a society now that has forgotten the premise of service related, you know, interpersonal service related. Um,
Well,
what
all
word?
businesses are a product or service or both. I
Exactly.
mean,
Mhm.
But
what else is there,
yeah,
right?
but we've forgotten how to interact with each other,
Yes.
Well,
and I
we're
think
forgetting quickly. I know it. These young kids. Oh, I feel sorry for them. Oh my
I do
goodness,
Mhm.
too.
what are they
Mhm.
I
learning
do.
in
I
these
really do.
colleges?
Yes.
Oh,
Because you brought up a good point, Bruce. You brought up a really good point that this medium by which we are communicating is a very powerful medium. We're reaching people around the world as we speak right now.
yeah, that is
It's
so
it's
cool.
it's
Mhm.
fascinating to think about that. You know, it's funny because I
Yeah,
was interviewed today. By the way, shout out to Greg Gilbert, Python's Paradise. Thank you. That was one hell of an interview, and I cannot wait to come back, and I can't wait for you to come on my show in 3 weeks. That said, we
Mhm.
had an interesting conversation today because he asked me how I started, and I said I just began my career I wanted to be a disc jockey. My hero
sure.
growing up was
Like
Wolfman
Limbaugh
Jack.
knew what he wanted to do. Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up. My hero was a guy named Wolfman Jack. You know,
sure.
and I
Out of
grew up
LA, right?
imitating.
I
Yeah,
know who that is.
absolutely, God, the Wolfman. He was, "How baby, y'all with the Wolfman?"
Yeah.
You know, and I was like,
Mhm.
Wasn't
that
he
was
out of
my hero,
LA?
huh? Say again.
Wasn't he out of LA?
He was out of
Wolfman Jack.
he was out of L.A., but he started out in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, of all of all
Oh,
places.
no kidding. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
he
Interesting.
started out at
Yeah.
a like a 3,000 watt station in the middle of nowhere. And somebody
Mhm.
heard him.
You
He
know,
was go ahead.
well, I want to make sure that, you know, I told you last week that my goal in all this, what I'm trying to do with this book and everything, is be the liaison to the guy that has an idea or might want to start a business. He's on the fence, and
Yeah.
he just doesn't know if he should do it or not. And or the people who think that they don't have any hopes and dreams.
Hmm.
And I tell you, every one of us, there's two things that we all have. Um, we all have a gift that God gives us, right? It's an
Absolutely.
absolute gift that we are better than normal. I mean, and we can do it really easily. And so I encourage people to harness that gift and work it. Did I mention this last week? I may have. I don't know. Anyway, and
If
build
you
that
did, it's
talent.
probably worth
And
repeating anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, it's something deep in your heart that or that a gift that you're just naturally good at. And then the other aspect to the equation, and you could be successful based on that one talent, but then consider also search your heart and what do you love? You have a love affair with something um, that that you just
Pizza. I have a
really
love
have in
affair
your
with
heart.
pizza.
Yeah, or with children, or with not. Got to be careful these days on that one. No, you know what I
Yeah.
mean. You know, you love tinkering with cars. You love doing this or that.
Yeah,
But
right, yeah,
when you combine those
yeah,
two things, a
Mm-hmm.
gift with a love of your heart, you are so
absolutely.
guaranteed success. You are absolutely. How can you go wrong unless you're lazy?
Exactly.
Well, yeah, and that seems to be epidemic these days. Laziness is
Uh,
epidemic. Thank you to the United States government.
Exactly.
This conversation has
no,
come
I,
full
I
circle
think our
now.
university.
Yes. A lot of people would rather be
I
on
think our
unemployment than getting a job when
Yeah,
there's plenty out there.
and I think thanks to people like Bruce Clark, the entrepreneurial spirit is alive and well. I think
Hmm.
there are enough good, smart, decent people left in this country, certainly in the world,
Yes.
that I think the idea of Bruce's core principles of do what you love, be the best at what you can be, and don't stop until it's done. That those core principles are still alive and well, and they do exist among a great many people. Sadly, we're creating a society of lazy people, but I think there are still a decent amount of hardworking, smart working people
Yes.
who have the wherewithal to make the entrepreneurial dream come alive in their life and for their family and for generations of world citizens to come.
Absolutely.
Bruce
You bet.
Bruce Clark
You know,
is a
I got to
go ahead,
add a
Bruce.
story to
Yes, sir.
as a Snap-on dealer. They grabbed me into the corporate aspect, and I started climbing the corporate ladder. At one point, I was having to put on other Snap-on dealers, recruit them, train them, and make
Yeah,
them successful. And boy, that was not easy because once they're a
I can
dealer,
well
they're
imagine.
independent and you can't hire them.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah,
learned that you hire a clod, you train a
yeah,
clod, and all you got is a trained clod. And
exactly.
I really struggled, and I found the secret formula for finding the right kind of people:
Really,
farmers.
Hmm.
Everyone I put on
really.
was super successful. Well, what's interesting, they know hard work, they know the
Oh,
value of money,
there
they
you
know
go.
how to use tools, they're
Yes.
honest, they know how to get up in the morning, they're generally not alcoholics you have to worry about. And they just were
Think about that.
amazingly successful with ease. And
Farmers,
they enjoyed it. They had fun.
Hmm. Yes.
Farmers. Yep.
farmers.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
Wow.
One
Who'd
of
have
them used
thought?
You
to
bet.
come. One of them used to come to
I
my
still
mom's
support farmers
father's
in America.
house. Yes. One of them used to come to my grandfather's house all the time, my mom's side of the family, because my grandfather was a mechanic. So entrepreneur all the time. That's all he did for a living. And he used to
Sure.
say, "Oh my goodness, look at all these grandkids," because there was like
Yeah.
10 or 15 of us all the time there. And he's like, "This man right here, Manuel Ramirez, used to put all my kids through college. All I had to do is come by. He'd buy one or two tools all the time. And this man right here put all my kids through college." He used to joke all the time. And then here comes the snow
Sure.
cone guy. Yep, this guy put my kids through college. Same thing. So he'd buy all
Is
of us a
that
snow cone. Yeah,
your
that's
dream
all that he
to
did.
put all your kids through college? Your dream.
Yes,
If you
yes,
want it bad enough, you gotta
yes.
want it, and you gotta do
Mhm,
the work.
Yeah.
mhm,
It's
Absolutely.
really that simple, and
mhm.
positive mental attitude. But the 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 people that say, "Well, I don't have any money, and I got an idea, but I don't know what to do. I don't know how to start. I need money." You know what, pal? Guess what? You spend $30 on a nice business card, a well-designed business card that puts
Absolutely.
your dream business on there, and then you
Mhm,
use that to introduce your idea or yourself or your product to whoever will listen. And
mhm.
I tell you what, you'll be able to get a lot of questions answered. You'll be able to,
Hmm.
and people take you seriously with a simple business card because you look
Yes.
professional, and you don't lie to them and say, "Yeah, I've got this, I can get it to you." No, you say, "Look, I plan on doing this, 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 and I want to know how much
Mhm,
interest you have. I want to know if you're interested in
mhm,
selling my product, if you're interested in buying my product, recommendations, blah blah blah.
Absolutely.
How much do you
yes.
know my product?" And you start gathering information with that business
Mhm,
card. And I tell you what, it
mhm,
snowballs. It snowballs. It can be as simple as that, a
mhm.
simple business card cost you
Yes.
$30, or it did back in my day. Maybe it's
Hmm.
50 now. Who knows?
Yeah. And my
It's not much
grandfather,
more
really
now.
yes, my
baby
grandfather believed
steps.
all the time that, yes. He believed that, you help this man out, you'll end up helping yourself out in the long run. And he always did. Every
Absolutely.
time he
You
came
bet.
to my grandfather's mechanic shop, he would buy a Snap-on tool all the time,
Well,
every
Amelia,
single
it's
time.
the old adage, and it's
Yes.
true what they used to say.
Help
If you
somebody, you'll help yourself.
if you
Yes.
feed somebody a fish, they'll eat for a day.
Yes.
If you teach someone the fish, they'll eat
Right.
for a lifetime.
Yes.
And
And my
Right.
well,
grandfather
I'll tell you what,
always
That's what I
believed
want
it.
to teach people.
I wish we had more time.
Me
Bruce,
too.
I don't know. You
This
might
is
turn
it,
into
huh?
a three-parter. I don't know, brother. This
Would
Well,
you
is
like
that,
to?
I'm
We would
open-minded.
love for you to come back. Yes.
Well, I'll say the word. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer anything. Because
oh, you're definitely
I,
coming back.
Yes.
I'll just tell you that
well,
straight
thank
up
you,
right now. Amelia and I are
thank
bringing
you.
the ass back here for sure.
Yes. We're gonna bring you back again.
Absolutely.
Great.
But we have to say goodnight to you tonight. Before we do, I
Thank
want
you.
everybody to check out inventyourpath.com and brucedouglasclark.com. They will both lead to an extraordinary website. And there's a lot of content there, folks. A lot of content. Check it out.
Good
Bruce
choice.
Clark is the inventor of the
Yes.
Stadium and Arena Cupholder, and he's affected your life, and you may not even know it. You want to thank him? You can do it right now. Bruce Clark is the guy who put that cup holder there for your big fat 64-ounce drink, you bastard.
Right. And I want to say real quickly, thank you to Jimmy Thunder and Boston Spencer. Thank you for your comments
Oh,
as
you
well.
checking
Oh, I
them
didn't
out?
see the comment.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
What they
They
say?
say,
What they say?
we love the advice. Always be yourself and never lose the faith. And what's
It's
up,
up on his.
Oh
Angelo?
yeah,
You've
there
been
you go.
much
Boston
love and
Thunder.
respect.
Oh, thank you. Oh, look at that.
Cool.
There you go.
And we love the advice. Always be
Oh,
yourself and
Boston,
never
he's
lose
the
the
best.
faith.
Good guy. Thank you, Boston.
Yes.
Amen.
Boston's a good guy.
Absolutely.
All right,
Really good
guys.
guy.
Thank you all.
Fabulous. I'll tell you what. We're definitely going to have Bruce Clark back. How can you just do two shows?
Absolutely. We got more
I think,
questions.
Amelia, we might end up doing like a mini series
That sounds
with
great.
Bruce.
There you go.
That's not a bad idea either.
I can talk a lot about a lot of things because my mind looks to fix things, and I see a lot of
Yes.
problems in our country that have
Yeah.
ideas now. We can
Yes.
fix them. So it doesn't
There you
have to be
go.
about entrepreneurship.
We can
Is a way
we
for people
can
to
we can
dig
bring
I
in
think
political
we
views
need
and
to.
entrepreneurship. Yes.
Yeah, I think we need to all get together maybe in a couple of weeks and have a political bullshit session.
That sounds great to me.
and like
go.
venting session.
There you go.
That sounds like a plan.
how
That
to read
sounds
the press,
great.
how to understand the press.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely.
Oh, it was fun to have you again.
Oh my God, beautiful. Well, I'll tell you what, folks.
Appreciate it.
You can check Bruce Clark at brucedouglasclark.com and inventyourpath.com for Amelia Firecracker Chapman, for Amelia Living La Vida Loca Chapman, for
Either one.
Amelia Aurelio Chapman, and for Bruce Clark, inventor. And he's
Love you,
Like,
America. On the entrepreneurial mind, we love you.
on that note, I'm Mad
Good.
Dog
That's
Giuseppe.
what
Take care,
we
everybody. Good
partner.
night. We'll see you next
No.
time.
Okay.
All right. Good guys. Thank you.